told my parents she was educated, she was a teacher. And then afterwards, I found out that was all bullshit.
Was exaggerated?
It was exaggerated. Not even exaggerated. I think it was an outright lie.
Could have been we don't know. She could have been a teacher. We don't know, but I'll take your word for it. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I know, because I asked the questions. When this was passed to my parents, they didn't look into it. They didn't ask for the certificates. I mean, maybe that's going a bit too far. But now, when I've said to her, I was told you was a teacher, she goes, no, I was just you should sit in the classroom.
Do you think that's common though? I mean, outright lie is wrong, but exaggeration it's almost like a job interview, isn't it? I think a lot of people would exaggerate, not outright lie, but exaggerate. It looks like me weird. I'm not saying outright lie. I'm saying exaggerate.
Yeah,
wouldn't they?
But at what point does an exaggeration become a lie?
When it's not, it's completely not true. When it's completely untrue, that's a lie. When it's an outright lie.
Niz's sake, it was like she's just in school. She wasn't a teacher.
Yeah.
So that's an outright lie.
Yeah.
But she was still in the school, though, wasn't she? So they're going to say, "Oh no, we didn't." They'll make up
bad
something.
to say, but I know someone. He married someone who was. So his wife's from Pakistan, but she's the daughter of a general, like high up. And they were told that he was an IT guy, and he was like blah blah this and that. He was just a security guard. Yeah. At that time, I think he was working for a hospital, and the IT, where that came from. He was helping out at an accountancy firm as a volunteer, and that's where the IT whatever label came from. But they're all right; they're still married now, so it's all good. But I'm just saying, people do exaggerate.
They stretch the truth
it's not right.
Too far.
It's not right. Okay. So we started off by discussing how marriages were in the 50s, which was over 70 years ago, and how they have changed so much over the years and over time. More than likely, they will change a lot in the next 70 years. And more than likely, we won't be around to witness this. What do you guys predict the future for the Institute of Marriage? What do you think it will look like in the next 70 years? Obviously, we don't know what the future holds, but just a guess by the way things are going at this current moment in time.
I think marriage will be, unless there's a revolution back, it's going to be marriage. People aren't going to be getting married.
There is a bit of a culture of that happening now.
Yeah. So I don't know if you see a trend, like flares are back in. They're remaking movies from the 70s now. So unless marriage has what's the word for it? If marriage has a respring or, it comes back into trend, then it will uptake. But I don't see
marriage has ever gone out of trend. It's always been. It's like, especially Asians, we sort of live and die for marriages.
Yeah, but that's the problem. We're trying to outdo each other at each marriage, which means you're spending more money, and at some point, people are just going to say, I ain't got the fucking money to do that. So,
but I'm sure Sol will agree with this. Islamically speaking, marriages are quite a simple affair. Yeah. We make it difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, I told my parents this. I told my parents.
We make it difficult. The people make it difficult.
I told my parents.
It's humans that make the problem, not Islam. This is what we need to differentiate.
Yeah,
Islam's pure.
I said to my parents, Islamically, we just need to do the nikah, and that's all I want to do. We don't need to spend money on a horse. We don't need to spend money on a chauffeur.
You were sat on a horse, didn't you?
Yeah, I was.
Lucky you.
Horse, yeah.
So.
I didn't go sit on a horse.
Exactly, so I didn't get to sit on a horse. Neither did I.
Yeah,
I did. No,
I didn't even get a fancy car.
I was hoping to ride off into the sunset, but I've never ridden a horse before, so.
Lucky it didn't fall off. That would have been something to remember, eh?
Yeah, maybe I could have ended up in hospital and then we'd die after you. Then I got no better to say that.
So future of marriage then, next 70 years, guys. Come on.
I said I see it on a downward spiral.
Yes.
I think marriages will fall below 5%. People will enter partnerships, cohabitants instead. There's a population collapse, which means I don't think we'll see kids. If people do want kids, I think they'll turn to IVF through donated sperm. It's really bad. I see things going really bad.
Yeah. Sol?
The way marriage will be, again, this is just opinion, and again, I'm going off by, the science. They say science of
Yeah.
Qiyamah. They say they're gonna have 4 women to 1 man. That's what I see could potentially be happening.
So you see, there's more males.
No,
more females than males.
Males, yes.
But what do you think? How does that relate to the marriage? Do you think what's going to happen?
It's really weird that
If they've got a power trip.
Because globally, the split between male and female is about 50-50. And when they've tracked this trend, it stayed the same.
Yeah, it does, but there's a Nissan in it. That's what they say is going to get.
But in India, there's more men than there are females, and the females are now getting picked. Literally, they can say no to a man. But the problem that started,
I thought there was more females than men.
No.
Across the world.
Currently, right now, it's more men.
Yes.
But I think it's about 51 to 14, something like that.
Yes, it depends on the ages. No, you're right there. There's an article I read. It said if you look at the median age, it's about 50-50, yeah. But women live longer because men
die of stress. It's true. They do, though.
They do die. Yeah. They die younger, but that's because they go do hard labor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying women don't do hard labor, but women are quite cozy at home hoovering while the man's out trying to build a tall building and then falls off and dies. But literally, yeah, I did read this and they did do the stats on it, and they said that at the time of birth it's 50-50, but as you get older, women live longer, men die younger.
I think before it was the women that were feeling like they were getting forced into marriages, just generally speaking. I think now it's the men that are feeling like, why don't, I don't think I want this stress. Like I said, they're happy to just live with them without marriage because they don't, the prenup, like you said, to 50-50. And if you ask the prenup, it's a headache. So men are still going to be men. They're still going to be providers. Women can work.
It's like that article that I read on Japan. It's high rates of marriage while the person's in working age, but as soon as they retire, they want to get divorced. But that's because the woman never gets to see the man. The only time they see the man is when he comes home late at night to eat food, and then maybe
when he's just trying the studio. But yeah, carry on.
I was going to say bang the missus, but apart from that, and then when he stays at home, when you really get to know the person and they're thinking,
well, that's what happened in COVID.
Different way.
That's what happened in COVID. Yeah, COVID. That's why COVID took a lot of strain on a lot
of divorces.
Yeah.
Increased because
they were in the home within.
You're avoiding each other. You're not seeing each other. You don't. So it's like, is that a marriage though? Is that a marriage?
It's not a marriage. We're on an amicable agreement right now. You go to work, I go to work. You pay this much of the bill, I pay this much of the bill.
I raise the kids, I do the.
I'll see you 2 hours every Tuesday. Yeah. The rest of the time, don't know.
That's funny because it reminds me of this comedian. I can't remember who it was, and he was talking about how his parents, like his dad, worked 9-10 hours a day. He was out in the fields. They'd come home, and they'll speak to each other. How's your day? Because they missed each other because they're not spoken to each other for 9-10 hours. How was your day? Blah this, blah that. But now it's like your wife never leaves your side. She's in your back pocket. As soon as you get to work, she's sending you a text message. She's showing you what she's cooked. So what she's doing throughout the day because of these devices. So you don't have that time to miss each other. You'll go home. She'll be like, I made this. Yeah, I know. You sent me the picture. Oh, I went here. Yeah, I know. You text me. So they already know what's been happening. So there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. So you just have an awkward silence.
Yeah, the times changed a lot.
Yeah, but then you need to have an interest, isn't it? After that, when what interests you? So I don't know. Activities. What do you like doing? Jigsaws, for examples. Do it together as a
bonding.
Family.
Bonding. It's a bonding, isn't it?
That's such a good point. And this is where I had another issue with my marriage was she didn't have the same kind of upbringing I did. And when I say upbringing, I don't mean my parents bringing me up. Me experiencing life in the UK, her experiencing life in Pakistan. I, you know, if I tried to talk to her about Terminator or maybe a scary movie, maybe the Goonies, she's going to think, "What the hell are you talking about?" Or when she talks to me about some Indian movie,
Yeah, so I was saying in reverse, she feels the same with him. Like, so you're thinking, what the hell, you don't know Goonies? She'd probably name some random, maybe Bollywood film or whatever drama she used to watch, and it's quite famous in Pakistan or whatever. And she's thinking, wow, he doesn't know this. Like,
and I will say
so,
now,
yeah.
I actually tried. I started watching Indian soaps, and to prove my point,
Aren't you a peach?
I watched an Indian Mamta. I watched Bano Mari Dulan. I watched all of these, and we used to talk about it. And whenever I tried to get her to watch the films that I was watching, it was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's
Not
like,
for me, yeah.
"What
Yeah, so it's like we said earlier, innit? It's about
You've got to have
compromise and
you got to have
yeah.
a point of communication, something you can talk about, and yes, compromise. It can't all be one way. It's just too much.
Right, so I think we'll leave it here then. I think the
Well, I've got
moral
more to get off my chest now.
the moral
Okay.
the moral it will be until next week, Niz. Right, the moral of the story is in terms of marriage, I hope you've learned some lessons and some gems here, because we actually have give some good advice. Compromise is the main one. You have to compromise.
And stand up if your parents try to force you. You know what? Stand up and say, "I don't think this is going to work," or don't.
Yeah, we touched on
Don't
this
remain silent.
on an old episode, but we'll reiterate that one again then. So I think the point here is, if you succumb to the emotional blackmail and you think you're pleasing your parents or whatnot, don't forget, marriage is not a joke, it's a lifelong thing. Your parents may be long gone or they may be doing their own thing. You're going to be stuck in that marriage. You're going to have to pick the pieces. So,
And it won't. And if
It also affects the children as well.
I
So
was
don't
going to
forget
say,
about
I
Yeah.
don't know if you're lucky enough to have kids, but then are you lucky to have kids? You're not only affecting two people's life. If you have a child, you're affecting a third. If you have another child, a fourth, a fifth.
I can't remember who I was speaking to about
And
this.
then the children think that's a normal way of living, and
It
then
may-
they see that as that's how family life should be.
I was
So
saying,
then and
yeah.
then it carries on. Then it's an endless
carries on.
cycle.
Cycle. Yeah, I think it was Solos. So yeah, it's so basically you're going to repeat that cycle. You've got to break that cycle because you probably come from a similar with your parents background to your wife, and you've got different outlooks and whatnot. It's hard for the kids, and then if they learn that, it's learned behavior, they'll be like, "Oh, that's the norm," so they'll feed it to their kids,
Yes.
and it's like at some point that cycle has to break, because it's just a vicious cycle. Then
It
it's
is
just never
vicious.
ending because you just see it to be the norm, because that's what your norm is. It's what you're raised with.
And unfortunately, in the West, it really amplifies and hurts because, and this is true, in the West, you have easy access to drugs and alcohol. And people literally go off the flipping rails. Literally. People do so much harm to themselves with drugs and alcohol. Whereas in South Asia, it's drugs are not as easy to come by, neither is alcohol easy to come by. So they just suffer in silence. Whereas here in the West, it's your kids might see you coming home drunk or smoked up, or they might find you on an overdose. That's not good. You don't want to end up there.
Is it pertaining to marriage problems? Is that what you're saying? Is
Yes.
okay. So
Here
again,
in the West, it is a lot
right.
different.
So here's the moral again: if you're having marriage problems, don't turn to drugs. Don't turn to alcohol. Seek help from family members, maybe religious leaders if you're religious, or anyone, a third party, someone that can help intervene. Maybe get a line of communication going. Maybe professional help, psychiatrist, therapist, whatever. If all else fails, divorce is there. It is a means to the end. It's the last resort, but it's better than, getting depressed and wasting your life away, because you only get one life. So,
Yeah.
Don't go down
Speak
that
to a
road.
sensible scholar or an imam. Don't go to one of these imams who are from Pakistan and they've got their old values, go speak to, I'm not going to call them modern because they're not modern. They follow Islam,
Rightness.
but what they're doing is they're actually following the teachings rather than the culture. This is another point my father made. My father said to me, I never told you Islam said you had to marry who I wanted. It was our culture.
Right.
Rawaj.
Right. Rightness. I think I'll speak to you offline, off air. But for now, I think I've left the listeners with my words of wisdom in terms of marriage. I like each of you to do the same. So any advice, anything you can tell, because marriage is a heavy topic. It affects a lot of people. Marriage, divorce, all encompassing. So any advice, anything you can give, any last words, please leave them with our lovely listeners.
I just have to love to reiterate. Talk. Speak up. Let your other half know. Or let your parents know. Or let someone else to step in and help mediate or resolve any issues. And if you can compromise, or if you're already compromising, maybe ask the other person to compromise as well. And Sol, what do you think?
Yeah, wise words by both of you. Communication is the most important. Take the good with the bad and ask for help from obviously many people. Avoid being intoxicated, and there's nothing else to say. I think you guys have covered it.
I think we've covered it. So, yeah, keywords.
Communication.
Okay, one word, one piece of advice. So just one word, right? This right. I'm gonna say one. I'll say compromise. You'll say
Communication.
and Sol. Just any one word for a healthy marriage.
And another C, I'd say care. Take care of each other and the rest of the family and kids if you've got any.
Great advice, guys. And with that, you guys at home, take care of yourselves. And we will see you next week for another great episode. See you then. But for now, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.